He dug a trench through the entire property and filled it with a massive amount of gasoline. He installed detonators along the enemy's inevitable path, covering all the traps with weeds to hide them. The most critical part of this revenge plan was the lethal traps inside the underground tunnels. First, he sawed off a double-barreled shotgun to the perfect length and fixed it at the tunnel entrance. Then he sharpened countless steel bars until they were like razor blades and arranged them in deep pits within the tunnel. He hung wooden blocks embedded with steel spikes from the tunnel ceiling and bored dense rows of small holes into the walls so he could ambush the enemy from the shadows at any time. Finally, he concealed claymore mines and C4 explosives throughout the tunnel. Even if an enemy were lucky enough to dodge every mechanism, his compound bow would be waiting for them at the end. After completing the setup, he went to his foster daughter's grave, hung his medal on her tombstone, and traveled alone to Mexico. He broke into his enemy's villa, took out the leader's brother, and intentionally left the farm's location at the scene for the enemy to find. He stood alone by his foster daughter's grave, waiting for the criminal gang to arrive. Hearing the roar of the convoy's engines, he got up and headed to the second floor of the warehouse. First came the first line of traps. After a vehicle triggered a mine, the gasoline in the trench ignited, encircling the farm and ensuring the enemy could only enter on foot. Then came the second line of traps. One enemy entered his house and triggered a compound bow trap. He emerged from the ground, firing shots to lure the enemy's attention toward the warehouse. As the enemies huddled together and approached the warehouse, they triggered the third line of traps. He seized the moment to ignite the gas. The enemy leader was consumed with rage and led his team toward the tunnel entrance. His goal was finally achieved. He turned and vanished into the tunnel. The enemies reached the tunnels. Even against a group of highly trained mercenaries, like a ghost, he moved through every corner, ensuring the enemies stepped into every single one of his traps. In less than 3 minutes, only the leader was left alive. To flush the leader out, he pressed the button, detonating all the bombs in the tunnel, causing the farm above to collapse. The leader crawled out of the tunnel into the warehouse. He and his compound bow had been waiting there for a long time.